listening to Nasty Knuckles, the Hockey Outlaws podcast, with your hosts, Derek Nasty Sotomayor and former Philadelphia Flyer enforcer, Riley Cote, as they go behind the scenes with your favorite NHL players. Time to face off.
All right, welcome back. What's happening, Nasty?
Oh, what's up, Rigorelia?
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. It could be our last episode before Christmas, we're hoping. Actually, we're not, but we are, because we look like absolute idiots right now. But fast approaching.
Next week, a week today, man.
Ooh, it is. Is it a week away?
It is.
You've done a lot of shopping? No.
Orders on Amazon.
You've been banging on the drum.
You acquire any presents?
Acquire, yeah.
Did you acquire any?
No, I didn't acquire them.
Acquire, that's right.
Purchased.
You acquired some last week.
They were given to me.
They were given to you. Oh, man. How was the weekend?
Pretty strong weekend, yeah.
Yeah, lots of sleep, lots of rest.
Lots of rest. Chasing around the girls, put some Christmas ornaments up.
Oh.
Some decorations outside, some lights.
Did you?
Big bow. It's a big red bow.
And that's a huge house, basically a mansion you're putting lights around. That's crazy. That takes a long time.
It took a little while to fire up those little
Took me
white
a while
deer.
to do all my
That's
little...
great. I like the...
Yeah, you like the red
the
balls.
decor,
It's better than blue balls, I guess.
Got the,
Ballers got
red,
blue balls. So. Oh, it's a little Christmas tree. Courtesy of Howie's.
Snuck it in there.
My boys at Howie's.
Nice and creative.
Yeah, you know.
Getting after it this morning.
Yeah, Elvie was feeling creative.
Oh, Elvie did that.
No,
Can't even take credit for that?
Yeah, no, I did it.
Well done.
Yeah.
Looking good. Thanks
Buddy.
for the sweatshirt here.
Oh, that whole thing looks pretty good. A little
Beautiful.
festive. You look like a Christmas tree
Ready
with
to
Nasty
rock.
Knuckles. You just need a star on your head.
Should put that on the website.
Should. Evan, where are you at?
Christmas 2025.
2025. They're available.
They'll be available next Christmas. Nasty will finally get them up there.
Friday sale. We have them in stock. It's not too late. 2 days shipping.
Put a pre-order in for next year.
Put a pre-order in or one in today. Or just, yeah, you didn't put it on the website. I've been asking you for weeks, Bay Baller.
It's not my lane.
It's not my
Stay in
lane
my
either.
lane.
You know, I can
you're the merch
barely
guy.
turn the damn TV on.
You're the
Or
merch
TV,
guy.
the computer on, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, let's get down to biz. Since last week when we met, we had our buddy Big Bad Ben Wilson on. Thanks again to him for joining us.
Getting amazing comments. A lot of old school fans coming out of the woodworks.
Yeah, which is cool, man.
Appreciating his abilities. And,
people that
toughness.
Yeah, exactly. People that talk about him. You know, everyone knows how scary he was on the ice, but I think they forget how good of a hockey player he actually was. There's a reason he's out there on a 4-on-4 or 4-on-3 with those guys.
Exactly.
He had some skill. But yeah, we thank him again for joining us. But Flyboys started off that night on Thursday with a big win, 4-1 over Detroit. Detroit's still I think they're just trying to figure things out. Stevie Y, thought they'd be really well, they almost made the playoffs last year. I shouldn't say they're that far off, but anyway, really good.
Up until the end there. They full court press on for a couple
Cam
minutes.
Talbot absolutely stood on his head. He had 32 saves in the game. I think his save percentage would be in like a 9.41 or something like that. Finally, Scott Laughton found a way to beat him.
How do you beat him?
4 Gs. 4 goals, 2 empty netters, but who cares?
What about
at the end of the day?
One,
Ooh!
Cracked
Remind
the
me
seal
of G
there.
coming down there. And, wonder if that went through Lotz's head. We'll have to ask him that. But, he just winds up with a clapper. Said the paralyzer hadn't been working. I did make a call over to Vinny, Eula, and Adam Patterson, 2 video coaches. And I said, listen, paralyzer hasn't worked so far. Let's try something else. And they must have come up with that and gave it to Lotz.
Well, it's working.
The clapper worked.
The clapper
Bard
works.
is
My
out.
gosh. I mean, Talbot was standing on his head until that thing
What do you
whizzed
do
by his
there
ears.
as a goalie? You
You
have
gotta
no
make
idea
you
where
gotta
it's
make a
going.
save.
Do you? That's what I tell Elvis, so you're probably right. I just got out of that.
Everything's savable.
That
Nash.
parents clinic you sent me there with the one dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got out this week.
How'd that go?
I'm not fixed.
No.
I'm still nuts.
Well, we got to get you back in there.
Yeah, I might have to go back
You got to
in.
go at least twice.
At least. Not to take anything away from Alexei Kolosov that game either.
Well,
He
I thought he
almost
was-
got his first shutout. I thought he was going to get it. He ended up with 25 saves and some big saves too.
And
Not
timely
timely
saves.
and big saves. But Lotz kind of stole the show there, and it was so cool to see. He had 3 on the year. He's got 7 now.
It's not a bad turnaround.
That's quick.
It's quick. It's efficient.
I thought maybe he'd carry that into many over the weekend, but Minnesota's a really good team, and Flyers just couldn't seem to get going. I don't know if
they didn't have a whole
I
lot
don't
of
want
juice.
to take anything away from Minnesota because they're a really good team. So I think that had something to do with it.
Yeah.
They're a good team, but the Flyers just couldn't seem to generate much, and then of course. Marc-Andre Fleury stealing the show by a long shot with a save on Konechny.
What a goaltender, hey?
I mean, I think we said that, or I said this a few weeks back. I don't know who we were speaking with, but back in the 2012 playoffs when we beat them, I remember thinking, man, Flower might be done. And in my head, though, I was like, he's played a long time. He's been playing, but I'm thinking maybe he's done. And look what he's done in the next 12 years.
I know. It's hard to believe.
Oh, it's crazy.
Making dynamic saves like that.
And what a fun guy to have in the league.
Right.
Like his personality. I know we probably don't see as much of him, but if you're watching national broadcasts, things like that,
it's always so positive.
He
right?
is. He's just always smiling. He's always. I love that guy. He's one of my favorites. But what a save! Highlighted one of the highlights of the year, probably our saves of the year. But the Flyers dropped that one. 2 and 3 in the last 5. Anything you're noticing being a former coach and the way I know you like to break games down?
Well, I think in the last 5, penalty kill hasn't been great.
Yeah.
It was 75%.
Yeah.
I think you're giving up a few too many odd man rushes. I don't know the exact number compared to the previous games, but it seems to, at least in the Minnesota game, a few more odd man rushes than you'd like. The strong side D man seems to be getting caught up, and then the F3, the guy reloading is just not high enough or whatever it is, and they're just kind of getting these pucks by him. But I like the Detroit game.
Right.
I mean, obviously, I think they needed to win that game. Kolosov, as you mentioned, I thought he did a really good job just hanging in there and weathering the storm. I think there was like two minutes there where they were getting some pretty good chances. Still 2-1 hocky game, right?
Right, at the time, yeah.
I think overall they seem pretty consistent. I mean, overall.
I know you were saying the other night, I think you sent me a message that said, Jesus, they block a lot of shots.
A lot of shots,
and then
yeah.
Look, I think they might be one of the league leaders.
I think JJ might have mentioned that one of these last couple of games, top of the league. But yeah, blocking shots. I think they had 45 block shots in the last 5 games or something like that, which is obviously a testament to buying into the philosophy and the system, right? And you're committed if you're going to do that. It shows commitment. So
that's the one thing that does scare me. I don't know if we ever talked about this, but with TK playing penalty kill, like he's a hard-headed kid. He's going to block shots. The only thing that scares. I know he's dangerous too with Lotz and Baller brought up a point that Torts maybe was going to separate them, but then he didn't.
Yeah.
For that Detroit game,
and they get the shorty.
Off. But
right.
That's the one thing to me. I heard someone else talking about this the other day. It may have been on the TNT broadcast, but just with some of your high-end players killing penalties, like God forbid, I don't even want to say it, but block shot, break a bone. Now you lose TK. Now you're really going to struggle to find points.
Yeah.
To me, I love him on there because he is good at it.
Yeah, well, that's
so.
it,
I mean,
right?
I guess TK's probably like, no, I want to play penalty kill.
Yeah,
but that always does worry me. I should say not bother me. Worries me. I know why he's out there because he does a good job.
That's it.
On the PK.
He's tenacious, and then you get a guy like him and a guy like
breakaway
Lotz, you get
speed,
breakaway speed, right? So it's like, you got to get these guys minutes. Like, they want to be on the ice.
Yep.
They want to be involved, right? And that's when these guys are at the best of their game, especially a guy like that who's, buzzing all the time and hungry. He's at his best when he's involved and, engaging in whatever, part of the game he's in. So, yeah, I see that, that argument. And maybe in certain situations that you wouldn't, put guys in, out there, depending on the game, maybe that you don't need to go out there if they're up a few goals and put someone else as a PK just to save them a little bit. But I think that the risk is always going to be there, and you can't start playing on the side of like being too cautious, because that's when guys do get hurt.
That is, I was going to say, that's when you do get hurt.
Weird things happen. I mean, I think you just got to go out there and play your guys like they want to be played. To me, you need these guys, playing the best minutes they can play, and they only play that, to me, the way I see it, is when they get extra minutes. If you cut out TK's PK minutes, you're probably going to see a difference potentially in his energy in 5-on-5.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
Maybe that's the way I see it, anyways. So, what do you got, Nast?
Well, no, I think so, and I was just throwing that out there to you as being a former coach, but it always worries me. But like you said, he's
the shot blockers on.
Put him on. He doesn't wear them.
He doesn't wear them. Yeah,
he doesn't wear them. But
you just hope that nothing happens, right? There's obviously risk always, but hard players play hard, and they want to get out there and they want to get the minutes. And shot blocker would be nice to have a little extra padding.
Yeah.
Make a difference in the lives of Philadelphia's youth by joining the roster. Ed Snyder Youth Hockey and Education's monthly giving program. Your support provides under-resourced youth with access to hockey, academic guidance, and life skills development, all at no cost to them. By becoming a member, you'll help shape a brighter future for student athletes, empowering them on and off the ice. Plus, enjoy special perks like exclusive Wells Fargo Center event access and Flyers memorabilia giveaways. Visit snyderhockey.org today and become a part of the roster.
Moving on to our boy in Buffalo, Lindy.
Oh, man.
I was going to see if you wanted to take the time to break down the last 11 games of theirs.
Games.
They are winless in their last 11, and we're not making fun of it. We're having fun with it, but I'll tell you what.
Tough situation.
Man, that's bad. I mean, you bring him back in, and I'm definitely not blaming Lindy, because this hasn't been working for the last how many years.
It's an experiment of some sort.
What do you do at this point? Like, I mean, there was a stat that I was looking at every night. I'm like, I'm not watching their games, but I watch the highlights, obviously, when I'm watching other games. But Alex Tuck isn't lighting it up, but the guy's a +9.
Yeah, it's actually hard to believe.
I can't even believe that. I'm not a huge plus-minus guy, but I think sometimes it has something to do with things. But I'm not arguing with you, Tony. Yeah. Tony D, my boy. Like it. No, and I'm not a big guy on that either. I'm more an eye test guy. Like, you could get fucked on a plus-minus. Yeah, and then sometimes it is you.
Over the season, over the course of the season, it does tell some bit of the tale. Like, if you're a plus guy on a shitty team,
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and vice versa. If you're on on a winning team and you're a dash, it's probably telling something.
Yeah, and they're on their power play, and I guess it's in their last 11 games. They have 2 power play goals and I think 25 attempts.
8%.
8%'s not
very good.
Clicking really well.
Yeah, and
Flyers are beating that number, and I'm not being an asshole when I say that, but they are.
They're cranking at about 21.5 in the last 5 games.
In the last 5, but whew. Yeah, I mean, tough. It's tough. We're actually going to jump in. We're gonna join Lindy in a little bit if we can.
Ask him a few questions.
Just a couple questions for him.
We got to dig in. We got to understand what's going on in there
and figure out what's going on. Maybe we can help him. I don't know, but another team big time struggles. We've talked about this for 3 weeks. I think is Peter Laviolette and the New York Rangers.
Yeah.
You moved Trouba. Obviously, we all know that. We talked about that last week. But man, it's just. I mean, they lost to Nashville. Poor Nashville can't win a game either. They lost to Nashville last night.
Yeah.
But they're 4-11 in their last 15 games.
Yeah.
And I watch a lot of the Rangers because usually they're pretty exciting. Now I'm watching this snowball
just
the wrong way.
Wheels fall off the carriage.
They're
real time.
Yeah, exactly. They're I guess in their last 15. I think they've scored 35 goals. They've given up 55, which you got Shesterkin, and then you've got a very good backup in Jonathan Quick. I don't think you're going to blame either one of them if you're watching their games. Their power play is at 16%. Usually I think it's a bit higher with that team. And their PK is around 86, close to 86, so that's not terrible. But, man, they just cannot win.
Just cannot figure it out.
They can't figure it out. They win one, and then they lose 3 or 4.
I know the downward spiral has been happening for a while, but did you see this coming, like going into the season? Like, did you see them? Like, I thought they were.
Well, even at the beginning, they started off really great, hot, Baller? Like, I don't remember what their exact record was.
They were at the top there for at least for first 5 games.
Yeah,
or so.
yeah.
But yeah, I didn't see it coming. The wheels falling off the carriage this bad. Oof. It's like it just gets like when
I think exactly. I saw Rupp, our buddy Mike Rupp was on with Kobe Cohen, sorry, and they were talking a lot about that, and he was just like, the years of coaches could be like, we've talked about this too. 3 years is pretty good for a coach, but this is Lavi's just his second year, and we're not even halfway into it.
I know, and
he's like, I'm almost shocked because I think a lot of teams would have panicked. But it's hard to panic when you got a guy like Lavi back there and you're hearing the rumblings, and we've heard it from good sources that the locker room is a mess. I'm not sure, in your opinion, as a coach and a former player, is that a problem you can fix as a coach? Or is it, well, all right, this guy's a problem, these guys are problems, we got to move them?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can fix it over time. It just it will take time. Like, probably not within a year. You know what I mean? How many guys can you get rid of, to solve that problem? Obviously, the problem lies deep within beyond the coach in the locker room there. So I don't know. Like you start trimming the fat. If you can identify 3 or 4 absolute cancers in the locker room or something like that, like how quickly can you move those guys? Who wants them, or do you have to wait till their contracts expire? And on the other side of things, I think if Lavi wasn't so fresh into his contract, it'd probably be easier to just do what most teams would do, would be fire the coach. But I think that could be one of the reasons why they haven't yet in a big market like that. But it's not Lavi either. You know what I mean?
No, I know. And you said something that made me think of Baller mentioned before that, or you may have mentioned it, about Kakko, one of his statements.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know exactly what it was word for word, but basically saying, I should be playing, I'm playing better than certain guys. That's a good way to start some shit in your locker room, or to have someone grab you in practice.
Totally.
I know I'm old school,
keep
but
your mouth shut and just own your.
You don't do that as a good teammate.
No,
you can go to the coach maybe where no one else hears it.
You can voice your displeasure, but you don't.
I feel like I could do more right now.
I agree,
but that's bad for biz, and that's definitely bad for a locker room if players read it. I guarantee you, there's some fucking hits and shit like that in practice. You'll be feeling that.
Yeah.
But anyway, teams turning the corner. Ottawa Senators 7-3-0 in their last 10, and I believe adding on to that they won again last night. So I'm not sure where that if there's 8-2-0, but Linus Ullmark has been hot.
Mm-hmm.
He was 3rd star of the week last week. He got his 2nd shutout last night in the last, I don't know how many games. It hasn't been much, but in the his last 3 wins, his goals against are like .099. And he throws in another shutout, so his last 4 games, it's even lower with a .967 save percentage. It's a good way to win games.
Oh, yeah.
And Ottawa has some scoring power. But 7-3-0, that's they've been, I think, in Ottawa, with this young core with a couple veterans. Obviously, G made a sick play last night, nice pass on one of the goals. But anyway, they're turning the corner, playing well. So that's nice to see for Ottawa. Anyway,
yeah.
I don't know if you've caught much of their.
I haven't, but just been following some of their highlights. Yeah, it's always nice when you have both goaltending and the offensive side of it, right? It makes things a little bit more manageable.
If your goalie can give up only a goal a game, which I know that's not sustainable,
right?
But anytime he's doing it over a 10-game stretch, you should be 7-3
Yeah.
in those, in those instances. But speaking of Ullmark, he was the third star of the week. There were three, obviously. Leon Draisaitl, pretty good. Our boy Vinny Maltz, 0.9 miles away.
He says.
Hey, baller loves to throw that in. He's 0.9. We should just yell outside, see if his window's open. But Leon, I think he had three Gs, six assists in his last 3 games. Second star of the week was Nathan MacKinnon. 5 goals, 4 assists. The guy
just gallops with
just
the puck.
gallops is a great word for that for him. Man, is he a strong skater.
The puck,
It's a different kind of skater than like Connor.
Yeah, it's just more like if you put him if you can extend the hockey rink, a mile,
God.
this guy would be like down.
Imagine if it was a little wider too.
Yeah,
he'd take everyone wide. I mean, not that he doesn't.
Yeah,
but
he's just super explosive, powerful.
Speaking of that, baller, I screwed up last week. Connor McDavid scored another Connor McDavid goal where he kind of wound it up, however you want to say it. And Leon was standing still at the blue line.
Yeah,
and just pushed it to him, and he came through the middle, and he made it look like it was me skating against 6-year-olds.
Oh.
Well, maybe not me.
3-year-olds.
But you know what I mean, 3-year-olds. But no, he came through, only had to make a couple little quick moves, but the goalie scored. He acted like he was going to go backhand, but right here, he just shot it. Yeah. And the goalie had no shot. I can't remember they're playing against. It's been over a week ago, but what a goal that was. I don't know if Baller could show it, but either way, those are 3 stars of the week, and no surprise there with the first 2, and then Ullmark the way he's playing. And boy, I bet you Boston's kind of. It's always it's always easy to look back, but Swayman hasn't been great this year, and I think that has to do with the way they handled that whole situation, in my opinion. But Ullmark's playing really well for Ottawa. See if they could sneak in.
Yeah. Well, they're going well.
I mean, you had them buried in the bottom. I didn't.
You had Buff going.
No, you had Buff.
You had Buff going to the finals.
Lindy, we're going to be calling in soon here. Some other things going on. Ghost was the 394th NHL point last night against the Islanders. I think he had 2 points last night, right, Baller?
Some of his highlights just
dude. What the shimmy shake the other night?
Shimmy shake
Poor
at the
Pintos.
blue. Oh,
Jordans were left at the blue line there, but he's a pretty good player.
He is.
Shame we lost him, but things happen. Connor Hellebuyck, first to 20 wins this year.
Yeah,
goaltenders. Yeah, goaltender. Elvis told me that stat this morning. He's on top
got
of
a nice
the
little thing going on there in the peg.
They do. The only thing is in that rink. I mean, in the hockey team, there ain't much else.
Maybe half a mile down the road there. Earl's on Main.
Earl's isn't bad.
They might have moved it.
Where do those girls come from? Do they fly them in daily
Probably
to work
fly
at
them in
Earl's?
from Montreal.
They're pretty good looking. But they can't be staying in Winnipeg. It's too fucking
They're in
cold.
the suburbs. They're not in the peg.
Our boy Dale Weiss building homes out there. Would you build Florida or something? I don't know.
Nah.
He's doing well. But
he likes the wind.
no, I'm kidding.
He likes the nice frosty winters.
Yeah, a little bit. Little frosty there. Oh, my God, is it terrible. What's that bar? You never can remember the bar I'm talking about. It's old school, but they moved it. I was there the last time I was in Winnipeg, and it was the night I was, during the game, throwing up in the cooler. And Goody was looking back at me going, what a legend. Like, what an idiot.
The Palomino Club?
Palomino, that must be it. That sounds right. Palomino. It used to be on the main strip, like coming into Winnipeg.
Yeah, like on by Portage, I think it was.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
Portage? Is that where?
Portage and Maine?
Portage and Maine. I don't know what that is, but they moved it into. I wonder if that's at the Palomino.
It's a pretty well-known place. I didn't know they moved. I mean, I don't really follow what the bar scene's going on.
You're not running back and forth to the peg?
No. Haven't been there for a while.
Well, anyway, Hellebuyck likes it there.
Oh, yeah, he does.
And the boys like it there.
Pucks.
And your favorite player growing up? Head coach?
Yeah, Scott Arneal.
Yeah, number 11.
Or, number 11 for years into junior hockey.
Yeah.
Rocking 11.
You should have told me.
Didn't know anything about his style of play. Also liked Mass. Big fan of the Moose. So it was kind of a combination.
Talked to the Moose lately?
Haven't talked to him for a good year or so.
He loves what you're doing in your mushroom space there.
Yeah, he's definitely a proponent to the mushrooms.
Yeah. A lot of people are catching on now.
Yeah.
Finding out it's not a gateway.
No, it's not a gateway. That's for sure.
It's a gateway to health.
Okay, gateway to health. That's for sure. Gateway to happiness.
Other news. Kind of like you in the men's league. Patrik Laine threw up a little hattie last night. He's got 6 goals for Montreal. It's nice to see it. It's nice to watch his interviews. He seems like he's a different
energy.
Guy, and you know things. If they start going backwards, it could change. But I've enjoyed watching him talk the last few weeks, and I think he scored all his games at home. I bet you they're wishing they could just play them all there. They're still not winning much.
Yeah,
but I know they won last night, but. Congrats to him, man. You know, jumping back in. He's got 6 Gs.
Just keep it going. Keep the fans on your side.
Right over an Ovi spot, too.
Yeah.
It's
got the missile.
It's crazy. Did you see Ovi skating there after, 17 days, broken leg? I think just keep him off the ice. Let him get healthy.
It's Russian vitamins.
Is he going to break it this week? Or this week? Is he going to break the record this year now? Because you said no, and then he was on pace to definitely do it.
I'm going to say no.
Gratz is saying no. I got it
Gratz
for another year. No, I don't know. I didn't ask him. I talked to him this morning, but I didn't ask him about it.
Oh, I think I had an inside scoop from Gratz.
Yeah, I was just
shoot him a
conference call with talking Gratz. Not a big deal. But I'm still figuring you don't want to break down Buff. I'll just talk to Lindy and see.
We just gotta dig in with Lindy and just kind of get the inside scoop of why they're only scoring 2 in 25 opportunities, 8%.
I want to ask him if he's ever seen anything like this before. That's a couple things I want to. I got a few things I want to talk to him about, but
has he ever seen anything quite like that before?
Yeah, exactly. Another guy's pretty hot, Riggs. He's playing with a pretty good player. Jake Guentzel starting to really turn on 7-game goal streak.
Yep.
In Tampa there. Kucherov's pretty good. You were talking about Sean Avery. He broke down a pass that Kuch made the other day, the one to Guentzel where he basically comes into the zone and he kind of almost gets into Mohawk, but kind of slows down, but then boom, changes speed.
Oh, yeah.
Goes around the net, but Kuznetsov was doing that years ago, and it was like the Kuznetsov pass, right? Like, he hits Guentzel. The goalie's all the way over here because he sells. I'm coming hard around the net. Back to Guentzel. Saw him the whole way. I mean, obviously, he's a special player, but man,
super
that guy's
dynamic.
so good.
Oh, I know.
He's so good. I know I told you a few years ago, like, I'm on the bench, and I'm watching him, and I'm like, this guy's so lazy. Like, he's not even into the game. After the first period, he had 3 points.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like, but he goes when it's the time to go.
Well, that's it. He strikes when it's hot.
He's so smart.
That's really the special ingredient is like knowing when to put in that effort. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you think about how much effort I put in certain moments that didn't require any effort. It was just like overdoing it. The great players, the real great players, it almost appears as laziness. It's just like almost sniffing out the game and knowing where the puck's potentially going to come.
Right.
And just being patient is really what it is. It's the element of being patient. I mean, yes. I mean, are they cheating offensively some of these times? No, just anticipating. Yeah, but that's why they're good. And then they have the finish, to support it. But interesting to watch those guys, just how the puck comes to them and how they just keep getting the puck and just like, and then making plays when it does come to them.
It's crazy.
It is wild. You mentioned Sean Avery. I don't know if you saw this on Chicklets there, but Witt and Biz were talking about, I think, Yandel was in on the convo there too, about Avery potentially being the next GM in New York. What are your thoughts?
I love it.
Imagine.
But I love Drew, man. I love Drury. Like, he's a great guy. I'm just kidding, but whew, that's a big-time move. I mean, would he want to do it? I mean, does he like hockey that much?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's had his hands a little bit of everything.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know how serious the conversation was. I mean, it was like a hypothetical.
That is interesting.
But I think Biz had mentioned that Avery had gotten called by whoever to check out or talk about the state of the team.
Wow.
To whoever who, I don't know, but the fact that he's being talked about for that position seems...
That's crazy.
I mean, again, I didn't know he was that involved in hockey either.
Yeah.
You just put your name in the hat and all of a sudden you're a candidate because you played there and you got a voice or whatnot. But I thought it was kind of interesting.
Mine in a couple places.
I thought it was a little interesting to hear that. Didn't know what you thought about it.
You want to play good or you want to play great?
You could be a GM.
Oh, yeah, I could.
Got all the answers.
Yeah, I got all of them. I got
You just got to surround yourself with people smarter than yourself, Nast.
Well, that's not hard to do. Got that right now.
Nasty Knuckles is a perfect example of that.
Perfect example. I want to touch on one thing you said right before Avery. You were talking about Kucherov and how he kind of plans out the game or sees the game differently, and then he's like a shark. He goes. But Chris Pronger, I remember talking to Prongs, the Beast, one time, and I'm like, how? Because, he was logging 30 plus, right? And him and Matty Carl. Matty Carl's kind of the same way. When he had to go, he could skate so well that I think it's easier for guys like that, obviously. Not that, well, when Prongs was younger, he was really good skater, but when we got him, he still could skate, obviously. But I remember we were having lunch, and I said, like, how much do you think you could play in a game? Like, if you had to. He's like, I know when and when not to exert it. He goes, I could probably play a full game. It would be hard, but I probably could do it without hurting the team. And he was dead. And I was being serious when I asked him that, because I'm like, dude, you almost played 40 minutes last night. It was like, I don't even know what it was where we were or what. I knew we were on the road because it was just him and I sitting in there. He made me wait on him, getting treatment, and then we walked back to the hotel together. Actually, we took a cab back, but and I paid for it. Prongs. Yeah. I turned it in. I could turn the receipt in. But he was legitimately, he said, he's like, if you notice, I'm not going balls to the wall. I'm where I'm supposed to be, but I get there. But when I gotta go. But I could, and he said, you know who could play a full game? It wouldn't even bother him is Scott Niedermayer.
Niedermayer, for
that guy could play the entire game. Yep. He was so much fun to watch, and just like, talk about a cerebral play. Like, a step ahead of everyone on the ice too.
So casual.
Oh yeah.
Like in a good way. You almost you got like chemo teaming, and you think of like eyes up, poise, but like he almost slowed it down even more.
He did. He was amazing. He popped into my head the other day. I have one of his sticks down there. I was like, people don't even talk about that guy anymore. Not like right? But like, God, he was so good.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, God, he was good.
Go by the wayside. But what you're talking about is for young hockey players, like the idea that you have to go 110 miles an hour in every direction all the time, right? And I think, I was guilty of that, because that was the way I interpreted hard work. It was just like the coach would be like, finish your check, and so everything was like, straight line as fast as I could go.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a time and a place for that, right? When you're forechecking, you're trying to get the puck back, but like when you're back checking and just different positional scenarios where you don't need to be skating. Maybe not back checking is probably not a great example, because you're obviously trying to hustle to get back. Right. But like certain scenarios where you can be more efficient, just holding your space in time, and then jumping, like you said, like with the shark, like just jumping when versus like jumping too soon, and then like the play is like by you now. It's almost like these guys have that ability to just like stay in position one split second longer, where now the play plays out and it pops to them, or they're just in better offensive position. But it is wild to observe that. But I would consider that wise effort, right? They're just preserving, their energy and effort for when the time is right. A guy like Prongs, and even like Darian Hatcher and some of these bigger defensemen that I played with, like you never seen them like running way outside the dots to get a big hit. Like if the hit came to them and they were already kind of outside the dots or in line with it, they'll finish it. But they're not running like here to there and there to here, and they're just holding that line, good stick position, good body position. Obviously, Prongs was a pro at it, because if he needed to play 40, 45 minutes, he would even reel it in even more. You just know what you can get away with, what you can't. It's not just draining the tank and then you're struggling to get back to the net to defend. So just wanted to touch on that.
No, you're right. You're totally right.
Yes. You know what time it is?
I think I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I do. I think it's time for Clear Questions.
I think so, too.
Brought to you by our good friends at Klyr Rum. Go to klyrrum.com/shop. Type in Nasty 2023. Get 35% off your order. PA residents only, Regs. Baller, what do you got this week right before Christmas?
Leading us off today, we got Orwell Starbuck over on Twitter.
Starsy.
The Flyers need a true one center to play with Matvei Michkov, who could that potentially be in the future?
Don't confuse Riggs. He's fucked up from the first one.
That's a really good question.
I mean,
you just signed a number one
who's available?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you have to. That's where you get lucky, where you get a really high draft pick that steps in is really, really good, or you make a trade for someone. You got to know who's available, right?
We got to get Tage out of Buffalo.
He wants Thompson Tage.
Hey, he's a shooter.
Your boy.
Put him in the high slot. You can score.
Just for everyone knows, I know it's Tage Thompson, but
Tage.
I think you called him Thompson Tage one day.
Thompson Tage.
I like saying that, but Tage is a shooter. Meach could get him the puck.
Oh,
the old magic man, as I like to call him.
He has a tendency to get guys pucks.
But Buffalo's not getting rid of Tage Thompson.
No.
They can't.
What if he just gets so pissed off with
Well,
the losing
I mean,
and he says,
how could you not? We said that about Connor McDavid and Draisaitl. They end up making it to the finals last year, but if they don't this year and then again another next year, are they,
they're going to go after number one center?
Are they going to is McDavid's he going to say, I want to come play with Magic Man?
He may. Imagine that.
There you go. Baller.
Starting rumors here now?
I'm starting rumors. No, I'm just, in all honesty, like, to get a number one guy, like, how you, it's not that easy to do.
It's not that easy to do. I mean, a true number one guy is...
They're elite.
Is drafted,
yeah.
right? And develops and they become number one centerman.
Yeah.
I think that's where some fans' frustration comes in with the Flyers kind of in the middle of the pack here. It's like you're not drafting low enough to maybe get that true number one center in the draft.
Yeah.
Well, you almost have to get lucky. I don't know if lucky is the right word, but someone like a Tage Thompson to ask out of Buffalo, or they were interested in Natchez in the offseason when things didn't seem great there. Or,
speaking of him,
Yeah.
could be an Art Ross winner.
Yeah, I don't care.
Or in the running.
maybe Elias Pettersson out of Vancouver. Something seems not right there.
Right. Well, let me say this, and some people, I was fortunate enough to be on the inside. I saw a lot of shit with Nolan Patrick. This guy was a fucking legit player.
Mm-hmm.
He was not handled properly. That's all I'll say. I don't want to get in trouble. If this guy would have been handled properly by a certain person, and I'm not talking about management, we don't know where he would have been.
Right.
He was special, and I don't give a shit what anyone says. This guy, ask all his teammates. He had issues, going on, and they weren't handled properly, as far as I know.
Yeah. So that was an
and there's a guy there, Baller. It just popped into my head because I love Patty, but this guy was legit, dude.
Yeah.
What did you think his ceiling was? Like 60 points, 80 points? 100?
Well, I mean, watching the skill level, and once, I know we spoke about this before, I think even Witt talked about it on Spit and Chicklets, where I just remember around December, you could see the hands were there, the vision, the hockey IQ, right? He was 19. But then once he was recovered totally from the surgery, the abdominal surgeries he had for his groin area, all of a sudden now he's like skating. And we're like, where did the speed come from? And you threw a great video together, Baller, on his page, threw a really cool video. And I bet you people forget about a lot of those plays this guy was making. They weren't lucky plays. And I'm not trying to go on this rant about Nolan Patrick, but I don't think people he was a bust. He wasn't a fucking bust, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
he was not a bust. He was not a bust.
It was an injury related.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if that could have been, shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah.
Man had balls, should be my uncle. But
right.
if it was handled properly, this guy was he was good.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
there was a reason he was ranked number one from the time he was 14 years old till that draft. He played played half a season, I think, his last junior year. He was hurt. He had the bad groins. I think did he have mono? Or am I thinking of someone else? It doesn't matter, but he sure took a step in the World Juniors, and that's why he ended up going first. Now, he's had a nice career, but you're not calling him a
top center.
Yeah, dominant all-star. He's a great player, and maybe that's where Patty ends up too, but you would take Hischier on your team, right? Like, who wouldn't take him? He's a hell of a player. I think Patty's ceiling was higher, but you never know now,
you never
right?
know now,
but some of the plays he made and the way he saw the ice.
Yeah, but that's what they were they were drafting him to be.
Exactly, to be an elite guy.
The elite guy,
Yeah.
right? And that's like you're just banking on those guys actually eventually finding their cap or their max, their true full potential. Fortunately, in his situation, didn't work out. But to me, you have to draft those guys to sign them as free agents. They're hard to come by, and you got to overpay.
Yeah, it's like Baller said, you got to get lucky. Someone wants out of a situation, and then you're giving a lot back too.
Yeah, right. Like who's trading, for a number one centerman during the season?
Right.
You know what I mean? He's going to give it up to above 500 hockey club. Just
it's like Eichel in Vegas a couple years ago. Like it doesn't happen very.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah,
right.
That was a unique situation, right? And,
yep. And that's I'm sure they're always looking for that. Well, yeah. Hey, Pettersson doesn't seem happy with you guys. They're
right.
probably fuck you. Yeah. we're not doing that. But you're probably always watching for it.
Oh yeah.
That's why you have pro scouts at the games. I mean, it's for a lot of stuff.
Sure.
Great question though.
All right, this one is from Mike Pohl 72 over on Twitter. Would you guys ever give fans of the show the opportunity to ask questions in advance of any upcoming guests you have on?
Sure.
We'd love it. Unfortunately, I think the biggest problem we have is
scheduling. It's not always
scheduling.
Easy.
It's not as easy as.
That's why we're here today.
Like. Yeah,
exactly. You. Schedules.
But, yeah, schedules. And notice. With some of our guests. So I think we have a good idea of like who's coming on. Sometimes it's just maybe we just got to get a little more ahead of it, Nast, and. Put a 10-week.
We try to do that, but when a coach cancels a practice or adds a practice, right. It's not that easy. But yes, that we would love that.
We'll have to figure out a way.
Yeah, we'll figure a way out to do that.
Send the questions in.
Yes.
All right, we got one more. This one is from Gizmo over on Twitter. He asked, if you could have any defensive core out of current players, who would it be?
If I had to have 6, if I could pick my 6, my 6 will be your 6. No, I'm just kidding. But
probably
I'm going
4 or 6.
I think I'm going take Victor Hedman.
Mm-hmm. A little wily vet.
Yeah, still can play. Mm-hmm. Big body.
A little excited. A little excited.
Riggs. You get excited about your D core?
I like that.
Charlie McAvoy's a guy I'd be thinking about. Slavin. Telephone. There it is. Lindy. Hang on. Lindy, I'm calling you right back. Hey, Lindy, I appreciate it. We'll call you right back, bud. I'd say like Victor Hedman. I like Charlie McAvoy. Slavin. Pretty good player.
Gotta have
Cale Makar. I mean, I'm definitely going with him. Probably Husey Poo.
Husey Poo, yeah. He's a pretty mobile guy.
Yeah. Roman Josi. Miro Heiskanen. That's 7. I gotta have 7. I gotta have 7D.
I like that.
Imagine picking one of those guys to scratch.
Yeah, I know.
Or you just go 7D when they're that good.
Probably.
Say, Husey, you're gonna play left wing this shift.
Get him out there.
Just get him out there. What about you?
It's a pretty strong list. Mine was pretty similar. I think I had Josi is at that 6th spot there. But I think I had everyone else. Cale Makar, Hedman.
Yeah.
Little Charles McAvoy.
It'd be nice if it worked that way. You could just pick them. I guess you can for fantasy.
Yeah. It's nice to imagine picking a squad like that.
Yep.
Obviously, there's a few other guys we could sprinkle in there.
Tons of guys, but they popped my head first, so
yeah,
I'll take them.
Nice. I like it. The old holiday list.
Holiday list, baller.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap, buddy.
184. Hard to believe.
In the books.
In the books. The old holiday podcast.
He's got a lot to do with trees, just not Christmas trees.
Who doesn't love trees?
Oh, I know.
Providing all that oxygen you breathe.
They do. They do.
Yeah, do a lot of good for us now.
Yes, they do.
Well, that's a wrap for 184. Wish you guys all a happy holidays. Be sure to tune in after the holidays.
Maybe a special holiday edition.
For another episode of Nasty Knuckles.
Yes.
All right. We appreciate you guys. Have a great holiday and New Year. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Or the week after.